What is going on, Babylonians? It's me, Songs of Rays, back with another Back4Blood video to bring to you. And today we're actually going to do our first in-depth video that I've actually managed to make for this game. And that's going to be my LMG, basically my farming Act 4 kind of build. Now, I do have a number of different builds that I get to use, and you'll get to see a couple of them named, obviously, in the gameplay that's in the background. But my LMG one is probably my most fun, a bit more supportive kind of role. In terms of like my favourite, I would definitely more go for a shotgun, especially if I can get hold of like a super shotgun or an AA-12. But the LMG is a bit more versatile, and it allows you to have a little bit more range. It allows you to be able to support your teammates a lot better, and just overall, it's a lot of fun. And it means that you don't have to aim down sights. You can just always have your view just clear, and it just allows you to just be able to hose down everything that kind of comes your way. So we're going to go talk through all the choices, all the decisions that I made in the gameplay in the background, the reason why the cards have been used the way they have done, and just break it down for you. So let's get into it. Now, as a channel, just before we get into it, we haven't done much in terms of Back4Blood content. We've only mainly just touched on a couple of shorts, just something a little bit more fun, a little bit kind of informational, but this will be the first full-blown video. So if this is the kind of content that you'd also like to see going forward, where we break down some of the builds, some of the decks, some of the cards that are actually in this game, then make sure you hit that like button. It really just lets us know that this is something that you'd be looking forward to, and it just really helps us out with the channel. Alright, so first up, and you would have already seen this by now, is the fact that choosing your character is kind of important when it comes to this. Now, I always go for Walker if I can, because I like to be quick, I like to be able to get in there, because one, Walker comes with an extra 10% damage, which is very, very nice. It also comes with precision kills, gives Walker 20% accuracy for 5 seconds, which is also going to be kind of important, not as important, but kind of important, due to the fact that we're not going to be aiming down sights or anything, so we kind of need our hipfire to be as tight as possible. And also just having that extra 10 team health is kind of beneficial to the team, but also especially to you, especially when we're going to be using one of the cards that's actually in this build. Now, you can get away with using Jim. Just realize that one of Jim's perks with the aim down sight speed is just kind of null and void. It just doesn't come into it. But the weak spot damage and all that, the fact that you can ramp that up is very, very nice, and it also extends over to the rest of the team as well. So that's definitely quite nice as well. So that's my backup choice if I was to choose one. But you can kind of get away with everyone else, but just know that Walker is going to be your main one to look for. Now, in terms of cards, in terms of the deck that I've gone for, I'll just break down a couple of the cards here. So we're not looking to aim down sights whatsoever, so we've paired a few cards that disable that altogether to be able to get a nice extra kind of bonus. So for example, I've gone for Mag Coupler and Quick Kill, which gives us plus 50% reload and plus 50% accuracy, and the only downside they have on those is the fact that you can't aim down sights. Now, obviously, if I've put one of the cards on, I might as well have put the other one on, because that downside's pretty much already taken away, so we got that. I've then gone for Glass Cannon, because that allows me to deal an extra 25% damage. Now, this does give you a minus 30% to health, and it's kind of noticeable how much of your health kind of disappears on this. It's very easy to be able to get overwhelmed, so make sure you actually use your range to your advantage, and use your gun to be able to obviously take out and make sure nothing gets close to you. You're not a shotgun build, you're not a temporary health build, so you definitely cannot get away with all those walkers or all those kind of ridden just swarming all over you. Next up, we've got Tactical Vest, which allows us to be able to have extra ammo capacity and a little bit of extra damage to our gun. We've got Wide Mouth Magwell, which just increases our reload speed further, because this is an LMG. The main downsides to LMGs are the slow aim down sight and the slow reload. Now, obviously, if we're taking away the aim down sight, we only have to focus on the reload. So we're kind of going for as much reload speed as we physically can. We've also gone for Reload Drills, which gives us another 20% reload. Then we've got into Weak Spot, because this is pretty much an Act 4 kind of farming build. You can get away with it on other kind of maps as well, but I definitely swap it up a little bit. But this is what I found the most success on Act 4, to be able to clear it as quickly as possible. So we've gone for Hyper Focus, which gives us plus 50% weak spot damage, and gives away 75% of our ADS move speed, which obviously we're not going to be aiming down sight, so that's kind of null and void. We've gone for Reckless Strategy, which gives us plus 30% weak spot damage, and just gives us a minus 5% damage resistance, not too bad. We've gone for Chemical Courage, which when we activate Pain Meds, which will be the main kind of healing for ourselves, we'll be getting an extra 25% damage for 60 seconds, and it's very nice, especially going for some of the higher damage LMG. So the RPK, for example, deals a lot more damage, but it's very slow to be able to fire, and then you've got the M249, which is very fast to fire, does less damage than the RPK. RPK, so it kind of balances out. In terms of choices, the RPK will obviously see a bigger difference because it has a higher base damage, so therefore the glass cannon, the chemical courage, all the other kind of bullet damage multipliers that we're going to be having will increase your damage much further. But the M249 is definitely not a bad choice by any means. In fact, sometimes I actually do prefer the M249 just for the faster fire rate and the bigger mag. Next up, we've got silver bullets, which allows us to have an extra 10% bullet damage and 150% bullet penetration, but it has the downside of when you kill a mutation, you lose 5 copper. Now, that's not going to really factor into anything on this, because as soon as we've bought everything from the shop at the start, make sure everything we've got is hunky-dory, we will then drop all our copper to be able to go for the rest of our team, to be able to make sure that they can buy everything that they need and make sure we've got the best chance for survivability. We've gone for ammo belt, so we actually an extra 50% ammo capacity, and just reduces our stamina efficiency. So the extra ammo capacity is kind of needed, especially on the M249, just due to how fast you will be going through those bullets. On the RPK, it's not as much, but because you can't guarantee which weapon you're going to be picking up at the start, it's definitely better to be able to have something like this to be able to have that extra ammo capacity at the start. We've gone for large caliber rounds, which gives us an extra 7.5% damage to our bullets, and gives us some more bullet penetration. Obviously reduces our stamina efficiency, that's absolutely fine. Knowledge is power. I do actually really enjoy this one, not just for the fact it gives us weak spot damage, but also it allows me to be able to see what kind of damage numbers I'm hitting, whereabouts my range is kind of falling off, and I'm allowed to adjust my playstyle just based on that. We've gone for hunker down, which while crouching gives us a 10% damage resistance and 40% accuracy. This is how we get our basically as soon as you start crouching, then you can start shooting, because that gives us the maximum accuracy that we need. And then obviously the more you shoot, the longer hold down the trigger, the more accurate your bullets end up being. And then lastly, we've gone for Ridden Slayer, which gives us an extra 20% weak spot damage, and it really just helps us against the abomination near the end, and it just allows for some really quick clears. Now, when it comes to the weapons and the attachments that you're going to be picking up off the floor, I would highly recommend that you try and grab yourself an LMG. You can get away with an assault rifle because most of the cards actually do cross over between LMGs and assault rifles, so you can definitely get away with that. But definitely try and go for an LMG, just be able to give you that extra mag capacity and just be able to continue continuous firing. The less reloading, the better. So in this game, I've managed to pick up an M249. Like I said, you can go for an RPK. They're definitely kind of interchangeable. It just kind of depends on your preference. Like I said, RPKs are going to be more damaging per bullet, whereas M249s are going to be great for being able to deal with all the ridden that just kind of swarm over the place. So technically, the M249, I suppose, would be better in that kind of sense, but it's personal preference on that one. In terms of a sidearm, it's definitely good to be able to grab one. I'd highly recommend grabbing a Tech 9. Tech 9s have been my favourites in terms of this game, especially if you can put some accuracy barrels or attachments on the front of it, and it just makes it almost kind of like pinpoint, and it really is a great kind of backup weapon to be able to use on that front. When it comes to attachments, the ones you're going to be aiming for, you kind of, obviously legendary ones are going to be top tier, but not all of them are made equal. So in terms of the ones you want to focus on, are going to be the compensator, which gives you a little bit of recoil control and allows you to have a little bit of move speed while firing. That's kind of negligible, but the recoil control is what helps keep your gun on point. You can go for the laser sight, but because of all the accuracy that we're going to be gaining from this build, already we don't need any kind of attachment to be able to focus that any further. In terms of a mag, it's definitely better to be able to grab something that increases your mag size and it also increases your reload speed. So in that case, I'd recommend, if you can find it, the extended fast mag. But you can go for additional bullet damage, but I'd highly recommend that you focus more on the magazine size. As long as you can increase the magazine size, everything else will be handled by the build. But if you can get the magazine size and the reload speed, then you definitely will be golden when it comes to this. In terms of a sight, it's best to have like a magnified one, because this gives you the additional weak spot damage. So when it comes to like just holographic sights or any like red dot sights, I'd highly recommend that you get rid of those, because they help with your aim when you aim down sights and be able to move a little bit quicker while you're aiming. But it's definitely better to be able to grab yourself like an ACOG or a 4x and just use that to be able to get that additional weak spot damage that you're going to be using. And then in terms of the stock, it doesn't really matter as much. You can go for one that gives you an additional move speed. So you can get some 10 plus 10 or plus 15% move speed, and those are probably going to be your best bets. You can go for swap speed as well, just if you are finding yourself swapping back and forth between your pistol, but the stock is probably the least used, or the least important kind of aspect of these kind of builds. So the other thing that you can do, and I don't see a lot of people doing this, and I'm a bit hesitant to do it myself because when I'm online and playing with randoms, most people try to take your attachments, is if you have a look on the guns that are on the ground after everyone's grabbed everything that they want, you can have a look at what the gun, like pick that gun up, have a look at what the golden attachment is, run over to the shop, buy the attachment, make sure that the golden drops on the floor, pick up your original gun that you wanted back on, and then obviously you can pick that and put that on your gun. So it's definitely worthwhile just having a shop around, just make sure after everyone's kind of like sorted their stuff out. I would highly recommend that you also grab a frag grenade. If you can get it improved, then by all means go for it, but it's not as necessary for this. And I only recommend, you necessarily just need the one, but if you can have additional, then it just makes the second round boss fight a lot easier. And I also recommend that you pick up an ammo tin, and I also recommend that you pick up painkillers. Now obviously painkillers feeds back into the build, the ammo tin will give you the ammo back to be able to continuously carry on firing, and the frag grenades come into it a little bit later on in the video, and this helps you just to be able to take down the abomination a lot quicker, just in that final phase. And I'll show you the reason why, and I don't necessarily get to actually do it in this video, but I'll show you the reason where you chuck it, and I'll explain the reason why you do it as well. Now I'm going to let the video loop around a little bit, just obviously so you can actually get to know the footage, but obviously I will focus on a couple of things. And because most of the fight with the abomination is purely weak point damage, that's obviously why we've gone into so much in weak point damage, just to be able to escalate our damage as high as possible, to be able to clear this as quickly as possible as well. Obviously the tentacles, really nice and simple, because all four of them have weak spots obviously in the center of the tentacle. I found the best way is fire a couple of shots into the tentacle, get it taunted on yourself, making sure it's getting you looked at, and then do like a run jump out of the way as soon as it's about to slam down. This means that you're pretty much never going to be ever hit by the tentacle, and then obviously as it's starting to slowly pull itself away, crouch, aim it and just hold down the trigger, and then just aim straight into that weak spot, and you should be able to clear it in one single phase in that kind of sense, and you get obviously rinse and repeat for all four. When it comes to the standard rhythm that are around, because of it, we've got the card where if you crouch down, you get additional damage reduction, and obviously get an additional accuracy as well. It's best if you're able to find yourself a corner if there's like a horde that's coming in, and then just basically spray them all down, and then obviously switch yourself over to your Tech 9 or your backup pistol, just to be able to, if they start actually swarming yourself and getting a bit close, when you need to be able to reload. Obviously going from there, if we then go into the second phase of the boss fight, in terms of the mouthpieces, it's really simple. I mean, obviously if you've already done some Act 4 runs, then you already know what to expect, but it really is quite quick in terms of taking down the mouthpieces. I'm sure there are quicker ways, but this has been one of the most fun kind of aspects for it, and even though I'm using an M249, it's definitely a lot of fun to be able to do so as well. But essentially, yes, just obviously keep an eye out on the holes at the top if you haven't done Act 4 before, so I will show those as a screenshot right now, and obviously position yourself in between tentacles. I've noticed a lot of people online haven't noticed this yet, or are probably fairly new to be able to get to Act 4, so probably haven't noticed this kind of like trend or this kind of pattern, but obviously the holes at the top kind of tell you where the tentacles are going to be slamming, and then obviously that tells you where the safe spots are always going to be. You can always go to the very far left and the very far right, but from what I can tell as well, and as long as you press yourself up against the wall, you should always be safe there as well, even if the tentacle is left and right. And then on to the last phase, I always push to the left from the start, so I wait pretty much around the hole, just to be able to obviously take out the first one on the right, because obviously he spins his body around to be able to show you that bit first. That's the only one that you have to deal with on the right hand side. So after that one's done, I move over a little bit, take out the one that's on top of the back, move around, take out the one that's on the left, and then unfortunately in this clip someone else managed to kill it just before I was able to show it off myself. But where I'm chuck a grenade here is the best place to be able to go. So as long as you have a grenade and you've took out those 3 points before then, the abomination will be on such little health that it actually will die from a frag grenade that can be chucked right at the floor. So if you chuck the floor around about where I'm looking of in this screenshot, it should actually finish off that last weak spot, and it just makes a really quick run. It makes really good for farming, and yeah, just overall just makes it really nice and easy, and you should be able to help out your friends in case they're struggling. And there you have it, that's my LMG build. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope this gives you something to be able to grind for. I hope it gives you a different kind of perspective, because I know that in terms of the game, when it comes to kind of like meta weapons and all that, it seems to be more geared towards like shotgun builds, more melee builds, more kind of ARs. So I'm hoping that the LMG kind of build aspect that I'm just showing you gives you a better idea, gives you a better understanding, and hopefully gives you something to be able to work towards, and just gives you something a bit more fun to be able to use. The fact that Act 4 gives you your whole deck just means it's a lot more fun to be able to kind of customize, to be able to get away with using pretty much all the cards, and you don't have to pick and choose here and there. As always, thank you so much to the BabbleOnian family, and obviously their names will be showing up on the video in a second. If you want to get your name on the end of every single video for BabbleOn, then make sure you click that join button that's right next to the subscribe button. It really is as little as 99p a month, and obviously it helps us, it helps the community, and it helps putting your name against one of our videos and just showing that you're one of our loyal supporters. As always, keep yourself safe, keep yourself well, and I'll see you all on that next video.